What's up, y'all? Welcome to Feast with Pete. This is the star of the show right here, Olivia Grace. Olivia Grace, can you say hi? Hi, everybody. Okay, cool. That sounded kind of like Mickey Mouse. But anyways, we're making a Sri Lankan style bread pudding today with jaggery. So it's a coconut palm sugar. If you cannot find it, you can use coconut sugar from Trader Joe's or use brown sugar. You can find that at any stores you go to, right? So the flavors are going to change. It's not going to taste like jaggery. If you can find it, it's awesome. If you're in the Bay Area, I'll tell you which stores you can get it from. If you're not in the Bay Area, it's probably on Amazon, or you can probably get it online. But this is a very tasty recipe. Make this and let me know how you guys like it. And if you want to replace the milks with coconut milk, you can go ahead and do that also. So watch the video and let's go. Baby girl, can you say let's go? Let's go! Welcome to Feast with Pete, and today we are doing jaggery style bread pudding. You need some French bread, you need some Kithul Jaggery. You can find this at Indian stores or you can find it online. You can also use the Mexican sugars. You need some evaporated milk, you need some eggs, some butter, and let's go. Okay, this is a French bread that's probably like a couple of days old. I got this at Sprouts. I was just crumbling it up by hand. If you have kids, get them involved, let them do this. It's a fun process for them, or you can cube it up as well. I just like this process better than cubing it up. Next, you want to do is heat up that evaporated milk. You're going to use 2 cans of evaporated milk and a half a can of regular milk. If you don't like to use evaporated milk or regular milk, you can use coconut milk, and there's coconut evaporated milk also for this recipe that you can use. Next thing what we're doing is we're making a jaggery syrup. So you want to cut the jaggery in like quarters or half, and that's how the jaggery looks like inside. You can also use the Mexican hard sugar, and then just put it in the pan and medium heat, and then heat it up, and it's gonna bubble up a little bit. Don't worry, it's not gonna burn. If you're worried, add a little bit of water. That's what I did right here. I just didn't want it to be super thick and I didn't want it to burn, so add a little water. This jaggery has a little bit of water in it already, unlike regular white sugar, so it's a little bit more forgiving than regular white sugar. So I add a little bit more jaggery because I wanted to make it a little thicker. So I think I used about a half a brick of that jaggery. The jaggery is like 500 grams, so probably like 250 grams of jaggery goes in here, and you want to kind of heat it up slowly, and it will turn into a nice jaggery syrup. So you want to heat up that milk just before it starts to boil. Take it off the stove. You're going to add a little bit of butter. So I probably put like 4 tablespoons of butter right here, and you want to kind of stir that. This is going to go in that custard mix. So this butter and this nice milk is going to give you that flavor and take you to the next level for your jaggery bread pudding. So now I came back to the jaggery sauce and add a little bit of whiskey. Now if you got some rum or some Anejo Tequila, you can add that here as well, and heat up the sugar. The sugar and brown liquor, they love each other so much, so they want to make love right now. You got to let them do their thing. It's going to take about 15 minutes. That's the love making process. Even the color change, you see that? There's a lot of magic happening right now. And that whiskey with the jaggery is going to take that bread pudding to the next level. In a separate pan, you want to add 1 yolk and 3 eggs, because right now we're going to do the custard making process of the pudding. So now you want to whisk these eggs really well before you add the warm milk, because you don't want to add the warm milk all at once. You want to add it little by little to get it to the custard consistency. Because if you add the milk all at once, you're gonna basically have scrambled eggs, and we're not trying to get scrambled eggs here. We're trying to have a nice custard for our bread pudding. So mix it little by little, mix it really fast, And once you feel like it's completely mixed in really well, then it's the time to add your sugar mix. So at this point, I'm adding the jaggery mix little at a time as well, because I wanted to feel out the custard is getting cooked properly and still not trying to get scrambled eggs at this point, because that'll be really disappointing, and then you'd have to like start this process all over again. So just make sure you put a little by little and mix it up, and look at how the color went from white to like a nice caramel brown. You see that? So and I had a little bit of mixture left over, so I was like, you know what, I'm not gonna waste this, because this is like liquid gold right here. So I put the milk mixture back in to the jaggery mix bowl and got all that sugar out, because you don't want to waste the sugar, y'all. This is delicious. So add a quarter to half a teaspoon of salt, because it needed a little bit of salt. If I had to use butter that's already salted, I didn't need to do that at this time, but I used it unsalted butter, so I added a little bit of salt. Now I poured it back in the mixing bowl, and I was ready to put in my spices. So now you want to add about 1 teaspoon of cinnamon. You can also add vanilla with that. I didn't add vanilla in this recipe. I added half a teaspoon of freshly grounded nutmeg. You can use the pre-grounded stuff, but this makes a big difference. And I also grounded up a little bit of cardamom, because I love the cardamom flavor with the jaggery and the milk. And I think it works really well for the bread pudding, because we have a Sri Lankan dessert called Watlapam, where we use cardamom and nutmeg and cinnamon with coconut milk and jaggery. I have a video of how to make Watlapam. It's on the top right if you want to click on that. And I was trying to taste my mixture, and my girlfriend put my baby girl to say hi to the camera. After she said hi, I tasted it, and it was tasting fantastic. I was like, if I can just drink this, I would do that. How was that, baby?
Can I just drink this? Really good.
So if y'all don't want to make the bread pudding and you just wanted to drink that liquid, you can do that as well. But we were making the bread pudding, so I added all the bread inside this mixture. And if you cubed up the bread, you can add that. I didn't cube it up. I just tear it with my hands. So I was adding the bread and mixing it up with my hands as well. And I was like, you know what, it needs a little bit more bread, so I added another little loaf of French bread and mix it up with my hands. If you don't like to mix it with your hands, you can use a spoon or spatula as well. And this is the time you wanted to add your frozen bananas. Okay, if you have fresh bananas, you can add fresh bananas, but frozen bananas and raisins if you want. I didn't have raisins, so I left it out. But if you have raisins, you can add them here. So heat your oven up for 350 degrees and get your pan ready with butter, parchment paper, and butter on top, and put the pudding mix, and then bake it at 350 for 35 to 40 minutes, and it's done, right? And actually check for doneness and all that good stuff. And once it's done, take it out, let it cool, and you're gonna be making the sauce for the pudding. So this is the jaggery sauce that's gonna go on top of your pudding. Just like we heated up the jaggery, we're doing the same thing right here for the sauce. Heat up the sugar at medium-low heat and put a little bit of water so the sugar don't burn, and make sure it gets to a nice syrup consistency. So when you put this over your bread pudding, it's gonna taste so good, and it's not gonna be overly sweet. That's the great thing about jaggery. This is not going to be overly sweet. You might think it might be, but with the bread and the milk mixture, it's not overly sweet. And right here, I'm adding a little bit of whiskey to make that the love making process. All right. Now you want that whiskey or the rum or the Anejo Tequila to go ahead and do its thing. And look at how beautiful it's looking right here. And right now, I'm adding a fresh sliced bananas, because I wanted to get that bananas Foster's flavor going on. See, back in Sri Lanka, we would add something like a rack. It's like a whiskey, like an alcohol. It's hard to get that here. So whiskey, rum, or Anejo Tequila is the way to go for this. You want to cook this for like another 2 to 3 minutes, a little bit more whiskey, and it's ready to be put on top of the bread pudding. Now the bread pudding, I sliced it up and I added the bananas on top, and look at how beautiful that looks. And now you want to add that syrup, okay, that jaggery syrup on top of the bananas, and ooh wee, look at how beautiful that looks. And my friend Marisa, we went to a party. She was the taste tester. You can also have this with vanilla ice cream. Her name is Marisa and not Marissa because she's Filipina, and she is gonna let you know how she likes this bread pudding.
Oh shit! This is moist as fuck. We cuss on your show?
Oh yeah, you go all out on my show.
Shit is moist as fuck.
That's what's up.
Oh, this is good. Oh shit. It's not too sweet. What else do people say?
Words.
No, it looks like it's gonna be sweet because it's like fully saturated, but it's not. It's like balanced, and like the bananas give it the sweetness.
What about the texture?
Loves it. Everybody loves it. The edges are chewy, which is good, but everything else is like moist as fuck.
I love it.
Through and through. It's good. It's good. Thanks, Pete.
Thanks, Marissa, for the review. And if y'all like this video, hit the like button for the YouTube algorithm and subscribe if you haven't. And don't forget to feast with Pete.